Okay, as I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey over the last week or so since the game came out, which is set during the Peloponnesian War, I've had a brief look at the Theban Sacred Band, which is a professional military unit that came out of Greece in the century after the Peloponnesian War. There's reasons for it. Sparta became the dominant Greek city-state at the time. Athens had been severely weakened, and to counteract Sparta's sudden found power in the Greek world, the Theban polis, which is the Theban citizens, set up their own elite unit called the Sacred Band, and it was stationed in a place called Kadima, which is a fortress city. It was composed of 150 pairs of an elder and younger male, so the younger one would be 20 and the elder one would be 30 to 35, and so that means 300 men permanently on a war footing, permanent professional soldiers, which is very, very rare at the time, which will have massive consequences for military organisation for decades and centuries and, well, to the present day. Sources, however, on their actual combat, where they actually fight battles, are sparse and rare, but there are three major battles in which they fight, and all of them are very crucial to the future, the course of Greek history and in fact, civilization in the Mediterranean going forward. They're first mentioned at the Battle of Tegara, where they defeat the Spartans in 375. They're outnumbered heavily. The Spartans are receiving these just standard Theban hoplites, and they are surprised when they're actually fighting against a unit of equal standing that soundly hammers them. This is in the beginning of the Boeotian War. By the Battle of Leucatra in 371 BC, which is 4 years later, the Spartans yet again come into the Theban area, Theban-controlled lands, and Thebes again outnumbered but is ready for them, and the Sacred Band again proves its worth and defeats elite Spartan troops for the second time in 4 years. So by this point, Thebes is now the dominant power of the Greek world and would remain so for another 50 odd years until what is now Macedon, under Philip II, are obviously growing in power themselves to the north, and there's a clash of styles. But because of the Theban Sacred Band's success against Sparta and in controlling the Greek world for 50 years, this is where the companion cavalry and companion infantry come from, the household guard of Alexander the Great and Philip II of Macedonia, based upon this, a professional standing unit. Now, they are almost hacked down to a man, though, at the Battle of Chaeronea, where they're the rear guard of the Theban army. At the end, they are surrounded and pretty much fight to the death. And this is where the line of Chaeronea is put up. And a lot of people believed, until they actually found the bodies by the line of Chaeronea, that the Theban Sacred Band was more myth and legend than actual fact. But when they did some excavations around the line of Chaeronea, they found 254 bodies of military-aged men between the ages of late teenage years to mid-30s, which would fit the description of the Sacred Band, and in even number, which means they fought as pairs, which meant about 46 would have survived the battle either as prisoners, wounded, or would have fled. Which is about right, because Philip II of Macedon allowed the Theban citizens to build a monument towards their fallen heroes. What is also interesting about the Theban Sacred Band, which is very unusual at this time in history, is that they were selected on ability and merit, not on wealth and status. So class status had nothing to do with it. You could be a lowly farmer's boy, or you could be the highest noble in Thebes. You were selected on your merit, physical attributes, and ability in war. And it's one of the earliest examples of a unit being fully professional and fully paid. It was paid for out of Theban taxes. It was paid for by the Theban polis, which is the Theban citizens of lands controlled by Thebes. So they were drawn from all over lands controlled by what was the Theban city-state at the time in Boeotia, and it's one of the earliest representations and known professional standing military units that was professional standing unit all year round. And there was a term of service on the unit as well, so you did a term of service and then you retired on a pension. This led to future Mediterranean powers such as Carthage and Rome having professional forces, and the Macedonians as well having professional bodyguard forces based upon the Sacred Band. The Carthaginians would have a similar unit, but was predominantly recruited from the upper echelons of society, so it wasn't truly the same as the Sacred Band, but they fought on the same principles. And also the Romans would also have professional standing forces centuries later under the Marius reforms. Of course, the Macedonians had the companion cavalry and companion infantry surrounding Alexander the Great, so his elite bodyguard units as well. So it did have a profound effect upon military thinking in the Mediterranean world before the birth of Christ. As time goes on, more and more nations have professional standing forces and professional standing units of paid men-at-arms going into the medieval period and beyond. But the Theban Sacred Band is one of the first professional military units that the world had ever seen that is recorded. Although there could have been others. We know of the 300 Spartans who fought at Thermopylae, which were the king's royal bodyguard. They were also a professional standing unit, although not in the same sense. They weren't drawn from all stratas of society, they were all nobles, so you had to be from a noble class to join that unit, so it was very selective. This was the first all-volunteer, paid for by the citizens of the city, and on a 12-month standing, you name it, they were all year round, were under arms and prepared for any eventuality of conflict. So there we go, a brief look at the Theban Sacred Band. Interesting military unit, interesting history, but there's only 3 or 4 battles in which they actually fought in that are known. The records on them are very sparse, and most of the writings take place in the century or so after their final battle in 338 BC at Chaeronea. But the citadel at Kadima is still there. There is ruins of it, so we know that is an existing place where they were based. So the places of where they fought do exist. And the Lion of Chaeronea is a massive monument built to these men, and there were 254 bodies found by it. So and they're from the right layer of the archaeology, and they have the right age with the right clothing and accessories around their bodies to make it pretty clear that these were the Sacred Band. And until these bodies were found, more people believed it was myth and legend than fact, but it backs up the fact because it's about roughly the right amount of people. But anyway, there we go, a brief look at the Theban Sacred Band. One of the most influential military units of all time, but one of the least known. People know about Alexander the Great's companions, people know about the Roman legionnaires, people know about the Carthaginian, units, Macedonian phalanx. They don't know necessarily about the Theban Sacred Band. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're interested in classical military history or any kind of history, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.